1, 2. Hey, check. Okay, 3, that looks good. Coming to you. Ready, 3, and take 2. On 2. 2, you're live.
Jackass!
Tonight on the Showtech Show, thank you for joining us once again. I'm your host, Rick Carr, reporting to you live from the Lone Star Studios here in beautiful Roanoke, Texas. My co-host Scott Davis is wearing his Green Man suit tonight, so and he's also a little under the weather, so he's not going to be saying a whole lot, but he's here. I didn't just touch him inappropriately; he's there. But I am joined by Jordan Hewitt, our
video
de facto TD guy and
director,
camera
everything
man
else.
extraordinaire.
Hello, how's it going?
It's going pretty well.
Starting at 8 o'clock for recording.
Got the record button going.
We're streaming on everywhere. We're streaming on Frontier Television, on YouTube, and
I think I'm just streaming us live on Frontier today.
oh, okay.
But we could.
Possibilities are there.
The possibilities are endless if you use them. Tonight, guys, let's talk about cruise ship AV. This is kind of a good tie-in to Jordan's world. He's got some exciting news coming down the pipe.
Yes.
But if you thought it was all, dark back hallways and the underbellies of stadiums, there's actually a whole industry of people who do the audiovisual trade on the cruise ship scene. So we're going to find out a little bit more about that and see what that's all about. In addition, we're going to talk about subscription software. This is one of Scott's ideas, right, man?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I forgot the throat. Anyway, he wanted to talk about the new trend that's coming out where you're basically just renting your software, whether it's your video editing packages or sound or everything, office platforms. So we're going to talk about that and what all it entails for the Showtech professional. That plus we're going to talk about some industry technology news that you can use. Just a few stories.
Just a few.
Just a couple.
Some just some of them were news stories, and they, the way with internet today, they just disappear off.
Just went away. Some of them have a right to be forgotten, apparently. So who knew? But that's a little segment we always call Next. We do. All right. So, boo you. Anyway. So let's see. I did have a great one. A lot of people probably saw it on the internet this week, but it was some guy who just lost his mind. I don't know what the backstory was, but he was showing you the exact wrong way to clean expensive camera equipment, and he was, taking painstaking efforts to make sure you rub sand into the sensor, the CCD, and make sure it's you get all the abrasive cleaning power of sand, and then you can spray the water right down the imager and in all the vents. He had a red cam and some Canon. Yeah, it was probably a hoax. It was probably my suspicion is he dropped his camera gear in a pool or something, and then it was all ruined anyway. So let's have some fun with it, because you never saw the stuff powering up and dying or anything. It was all just dead hardware. But that was kind of fun. We were going to bring you the video of that, but apparently that has been removed by the users. So in one of those stunning things, of course, nobody ever thought to download that because why wouldn't it be there for posterity? But apparently things do go away off YouTube. So if you have an important video or something that that senator shouldn't have sent you,
save it off. That's going to go viral.
Save a copy offline. Yeah.
That's true.
I'm thinking the guy was having trouble making his warranty stand up for him. So
look at this.
they're like, well, clearly you have a history of misuse for equipment by your own admission. So no, we're not going to pay for that. Well, that was a gag. Well, looks pretty serious to us.
Moral of the story: be careful what you put online.
There you go. Such as the Showtech show. Someone might actually watch this someday. Then we'd be in real trouble. But the first news story we've got up, I guess, Jordan, I'll let you do one because I just talked. But tell me about the Garmin G camera.
The Garmin G, yes. So is it the Z? See you later.
Sounds XY to me.
See you later. All right, so it's the Garmin.
Carman.
I ate some ice cream before I came here.
You got mouth freeze.
Yeah, it's almost like another GoPro, competition camera and stuff like that. A little bit cheaper than
I hear Garmin. I was thinking this is like a GPS product, but this is actually a little action camera.
It's a kind of a HD action camera. That's what they're marketing as, is the HD action camera.
It's actually got the same weird GoPro shoe on it, I see.
Yeah, and it looks like the same little, the screwdriver thing or screw and set thing also. Just different body shape and stuff like that.
Okay.
It's compact, waterproof, 1440 at 30, 1080 at 60, so on and so on.
Okay.
It has built-in Garmin GPS and sensors that track your movements in real time. So there's your GPS little.
Yeah, there you go. I'm sure they have a
It's like,
tie-in.
oh,
So if it gets
we're
stolen,
making
you
a
can find
Garmin
it.
camera. We're gonna put a GPS in here. So
Oh,
that way you
that's
can
nice.
do
A lot of
that.
people like to do tagging, put meta tags into their cameras, and they've been for a long time making little camera memory cards that have basically a little GPS antenna built into them, so
Yeah.
you can meta tag every photo you take with a location.
Yeah, geotag, mototag. I mean, all cell phones right now.
geotagging. Yeah, it's kind of makes it nice for organizing. When you go back, you can kind of paint a little picture of like, I was here, and then I was here, and I was here, and click on it and bring up a video. Or
I think
a picture.
my mom asked me that like earlier this week when I was showing her some pictures. It's like I was showing her pieces of her father's land, and she was like saw the geotag location, how it said somewhere in Louisiana, or a certain place in Louisiana. She's like, "Did you put that in there?" I was like, "No." It's like every time I take a picture, GPS takes my location down.
Oh, like on your phone?
Yeah, geotags the location on the picture.
Yep.
And no matter where it goes across the internet or whatever, it's always going to be geotagged on that area. So.
Well, tell me about the little Garmin product here. Other than being a GoPro knockoff, what does it offer?
So it again all the different resolutions and stuff like that they can do, image stabilization and zoom levels. You can actually zoom a little bit with this camera.
Okay.
Well, and
Digital zoom, obviously, or
I'm thinking
must be.
doesn't say. It just has zoom levels and image stabilization. The GoPro also has like sort of zoom, but you can just change your POV from wide, medium to narrow. And but you can't really do like a nice zoom in or something like that. So I don't know if this has like a crank dial to kind of move the lens. I don't know. Garmin, please send us a camera so we can test it out.
As always, if you're an expensive camera manufacturer, please send us a free copy for a review unit.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
It does 12 megapixel photos, burst of 30 frames per second, time lapse. It's waterproof up to 50 meters.
So far, nothing that screams innovation.
5.35. Yeah,
cheaper.
$399.99. So you're getting
really.
It's almost about the same price.
I guess
as GoPro.
it's GoPro with GPS, folks. So that's.
There's accessories that come with it right now. It just some mounts, different, almost the same kind of GoPro mounts and stuff like that. I'm looking at on the website and everything. It's basically just another camera, another action camera to throw into the market.
Yeah.
Just throw in there to put more competition out there for others.
Okay. Well, good to know. Good to know about the competition.
So
I'll say next.
Next.
Next. Oh, sorry.
Oops, on loops.
Loop it up.
Why are we on loops? How does it do
Why
that?
are we on loops?
I don't get that.
So this is kind of a follow-up to what we were talking about last week with massively surround sound. This is a new mixing technology from Sennheiser, but it's their 3D sound. It's actually a 9.1 channel thing, so it wasn't like the 22.85 or whatever it was we were looking at stupid last week. But they differentiate this from. They say it's not an extension of 7.1 or 5.1 sound. This is a new technology designed to pick up live performances, including all of the reflections that are oftentimes not picked up, so that when you replicate that sound in whatever type of environment you're in, it sort of mimics those reflections and those acoustical signatures of whatever performance hall it was in. So even though you're sitting in your living room, if you're listening to a live performance like an opera or something, it still fills your space in the same way. So it kind of mimics that. Not do you just get a pure sound and all the speakers working, but it also they have a way to reproduce that reflectivity with the speaker setup, I guess. So no matter where your speakers are, it will take that into account, I suppose, and reproduce that faithfully, which is kind of interesting to me. Another way to do, we've got all these speakers, and that's what I was saying last week was, you've only got two ears, so really you just need the two
channels.
Two channels.
Yeah.
Really, if you mix it properly, it can do everything you need it to. But then you kind of get into a situation where you've got a home theater or something like that, and you want to have more than one person watching, so you have to do a more faithful reproduction of a 3D sound environment so that everybody can kind of share that surround sound experience and not have to have their own set of tuned headphones and that sort of thing. Well, this Sennheiser's 3D audio kind of takes it to the next level where you're still reproducing that 3D sound environment, but you're not just reproducing the sounds, but you're actually reproducing the environment, I guess, if it makes any sense. So, yeah, not everything sounds like it's recorded on a soundstage now. You can kind of, reproduce those nuances that make that sound interesting to begin with, which to me would have a lot more application for your live recordings, your live, not live like broadcast live, but things that were one shot, one record, no redos, kind of things that were special moments. You can capture those more in a way that maybe this will feed back into your really expensive virtual reality system someday. So when you're wearing your headgear and being able to look around the virtual space, you're also now able to hear it as if it were real, instead of just getting some kind of mixed down stereo or some kind of generic Dolby surround sound. So, as many advances as we've had in the 3D video realm, I guess, this year, I guess it's interesting to see the 3D audio kind of following suit. And again, I keep bringing it back to virtual reality for me. When I was a kid, we were envisioning as being a computer-based environment, and everything was going to be cartoonish. People, producers and production teams are finding ways, and scientists are finding ways to record real life in a way that's so immersive that you can go in and experience real life later, and not just have it be one particular window on the world like we've dealt with for how many decades now. You can actually go back and look around, hear little things differently from different points of view. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. Yeah. Cool. But that's all I've got on news. You want to say next to that, or do you care?
I mean, I don't have anything else to do with, so.
Okay. Rock and roll. Next! Kicking off the A block, we are talking about rental software. To not put too fine a point on it. This is kind of a trend that's come along the software industry last decade or so, where instead of just putting high-priced software out there on the market that for some is prohibitively too expensive, like we all know, like Final Cut Pro went from being $1,000 software package and
$400, $399.
Yeah, now it's a lot cheaper, and then kind of Adobe followed suit with that. They kind of responded they couldn't take their master suite, their $2,000 software, and knock it down to something comparable to a $300 offering, but they did start offering it almost as they gave people the option to just subscribe to the software. Mm-hmm. And their value add was like, well, as long as you're subscribing and you have an active monthly payment of $25 or whatever they were charging for that, you'll always have the latest version. You'll always have the latest, and that's one thing that small to medium producers would find. If you go and throw down a lot of money on like a $2,000 software package, there's nothing to stop them from releasing the next version next year, and you'll probably get some kind of upgrade discount. But for the most part, you're throwing hundreds or thousands of dollars into software each year. So it was kind of a little bit like, well, I mean, yeah, you're never done paying for it, so it's kind of hard to justify it that way. But at the same time, it's affordable, and you've always got a lot more access to software than you ever did in the past.
Yeah.
I mean, at least as a small guy, it's kind of hard to swallow that $2,000 package unless you've got a few jobs under your belt. But pretty much any novice could go out there and spend $50 and have the same production capabilities. And from the company side, it made sense too, I guess, because there were those people who had to make those hard decisions. Like, look, I can't afford the Adobe Master Suite, so I'm either going to use like a Sony Vegas kind of product, or I'm just going to steal it. Guess what happened more often than not. Yeah. And they always kind of justify it like, well, we don't like people stealing our software, but it's not awful because like people learn it, and then maybe they go work for somebody who has a legitimate business, and they're already versed in that and knowledgeable about it. And, they would give free copies to schools and things like that, because it doesn't hurt them for people to learn their software for free.
But now you have something like the Adobe's offering to lessen the hit of pirate software with like the Adobe Cloud and stuff like that. Where you can basically download for a small fee just the Creative Cloud. For I don't know how much it is, like $10, $20, $30 a month. I try to look it up.
I think it's less than $30, but it's
it's something you can download. Photoshop. You can get your different packages. You can do Photoshop. You can do like After Effects and Illustrator, and get like 3 of those for a certain amount of money. Or you can all the creative apps. I think get the entire collection of Creative apps and more for $50 $50 a month.
Yeah.
Which the short term, that's like, well, that's pretty cheap. Than spending a one-time payment of, for the master suite, which is like $2,000 or something like that. But the thing with this is that you get free updates.
Yeah, I think that's a really compelling thing is if I'm making that decision. The thing that always got me was if you're using this stuff on a regular basis, I mean, you're still paying, $300 a year, something like that. And, you go 3 or 4 years into this and I guess it depends on the software. Maybe the big honking master suite's not the best example of this, but like with our streaming software, there's options for a monthly subscription-based model, and there's options to just buy it outright. It's like I've always said, like video, at least, once you have the ability to create that product, you're always going to have the ability to create that product. Like it's not going to be like video games and things where you always have to get a bigger and better system. I mean, you want to as video technology gets better, but if 5 years ago you had set up a computer that could, and you had an HD camera that could record HD video and you could take the footage off and you could edit it on that computer and produce whatever, you still could do that today.
Yeah.
It might take you 45 minutes to check your email, but that workflow still works for you. So as a producer, if, from turning live imagery into a paid product for somebody else, you've got that. There's no real compelling need to change and to upgrade anything. But then again, if you wanted to go pursue things like 4K, ultra high definition, then you got to start rethinking, I'm going to need a new machine. I need a new software package. I need a new camera to be able to do that. And so
That gets up volume money.
Yeah, and I'm probably making this too video centric, but I mean that's my main experience from paid software packages is you tend to build these packages and then base your business on that. Having this more fluid business model is kind of interesting. And then it kind of hit me like a bolt out of the blue a couple of years back. My wife was going back to school for some nursing things, and we were looking at updating, her Microsoft package. And Microsoft's another company that's been doing this now. Instead of going out and, buying your $800 worth of Office suite that used to have to be what you did, or get the student version if they offered that at a discount. Now they have a subscription-based thing, Office 360, 365, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically the same thing for $10 a month or whatever. You subscribe to it. You
get Office.
You get all their PowerPoint, Excel, and Word and whatever. And at first I was like, I don't know, I'd hate that. It just seems like you're going to be going to school for 4 years, just buy Office for $200 and be done with it. I wish we could still do that. But then I was thinking about it, like, well, I mean, unless you're like really doing like a ton of spreadsheets or PowerPoint presentations or whatever, how often are you truly using that product? I mean, more often than not, you can take notes on, Notepad, something free like that. How often do you need to write like a big paper? If you're a master's degree student or something, you're going back like that, maybe there's an argument for it. But really, we say subscription, but this isn't really, it's not a subscription model where you're tied to a contract. You can, hey, I'm going to subscribe. I need to write a paper. I'm going to pay $10 this month, and I've got 30 days of every Microsoft product I want. Okay, now I'm done with that. I'll turn off the subscription because I'm not going to be writing papers for the next couple of months.
Yeah.
So, I mean, really, it's whereas before that student was like, wow, that first paper is going to kick me in the teeth. It's going to cost me $200 worth of software to make. But, then I've got it for a couple of years, and I can continue to do stuff with that software. You just kind of have to change your thinking now to where, well, it's going to cost me $10 to write that paper this month, and next month it might cost me another $10, if I still need to do that. But it's really not that. It's not that big of a barrier. I mean, it's not like going. You still have to buy that $400 textbook. There's no way to. I'd sure rather subscribe to that textbook.
Yeah.
I'm only going to be in the class for 3 months, so I'll pay $30 for the textbook, and then I'll cancel my subscription, and you can keep the textbook. No, it's pretty much you buy the whole thing, and you get to keep it forever. Even though next year when you have to retake the class, they've changed the textbook version, and you have to buy the new one for another $400. So, I used to be very leery about these subscription-based things, but I think they are a decent way to save money and to kind of extend your productivity, at least in the legal sphere. I mean, like we mentioned, there's definitely a lot of people who do it illegitimately and go out and use the software, and that's always dicey for me as a business proposition. If you're talking about doing, show production, paid, professionally, you don't want to be doing it with stolen software. You don't want to be doing it without paying your taxes. And you don't want to be doing it these little things that seem great in the short term, but as soon as you start being anything of relevance, then suddenly the tax man comes or someone sues you to death or whatever. I mean, you don't want to do that. You kind of want to do it right from the get-go. So rental software, subscription-based software distribution, kind of nice. And, I mean, as more people do this and as the model becomes more solid, the prices are coming down. Like we've talked about the Apple OS, they've kind of moved to that. Like when you buy the hardware, that's really where the cost goes. But I mean,
well, now you can update the new OS for free.
yeah, no,
They're
they
not
used to be
charging
like,
for the new.
well, for a
operating
while it was
system.
like $5 or whatever. It was
Yeah.
some really small thing. Like it was, and people were like $5. Well, yeah, okay, I'll go ahead and do that.
But now
and
it's just like free
Now they're just like,
downloads.
yeah, just keep the money. Just here you go. It's more value to them to have everybody on the same platform out there for free rather than have a big.
And they're doing like public beta
fractured
testing
system.
as well for a
Yeah.
bunch of people. Just say, hey, try this software out, see what it does.
Yeah, you used
Because-
to have to be a developer to kind of get into that. Now
yeah,
it's
but
just like,
now and you
yeah.
had to pay developer prices, but now you can get
Yeah.
public beta.
yeah, just go for it. We got more testers and people are willing to do it. Then who cares? So
Because most of the developers, they basically will try it out for their software. They don't really go into the point of, the end user.
yeah,
the what you, the normal person day to day that uses the
yeah, the
complete
stupid guy who's
software,
going to press the buttons wrong.
that's
and
that's
the real data.
that's,
they
that's
need.
the real issue. It's like, okay, this is not functioning properly. It's like, yeah, the app could be functioning properly with the software, but we're going off the topic. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
well,
what do you think? What's your verdict, Jordan? Rental software, subscription-based software. Is that a winner or a loser for the average
pros
show
and
tech guy?
cons. Pros and cons to it. If
All
you
right.
use it, it's great. If you're getting your money's worth out of it. If you're not, if you're paying $50 a month and you only use it probably once a month,
Yeah,
it's not worth it. I mean, get like your CS5 and run with it for the next 3 years. If you're not, or whatever the newest one is, whatever your programs you're using, buy Photoshop and that's it. Don't need to spend $50 or how much it is just to be using it once a day.
yeah,
This-
it kind
this
of
is-
forces your productivity.
Yeah.
You got to be, using it. You can't just be doing this for a hobby
Yeah.
and spending all this money out the nose. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of up in the air, and I mean, it's intriguing because I like the idea, the agility that it lends. Not having to build up all this capital just to do job number one, and it's an industry where theoretically jobs still can pay pretty well because they're used to supporting those costs. So now I'm thinking like, man, is it feasible to like rent a camera? Rent a computer to edit on, rent the software, not actually own anything as capital, but just, pay for it, lease it, and then pitch it when you're done with it.
So, I'm coming to another point of this place that I work at. They used to rent tracks for like probably 4 times a year.
Triax or
Tracks, camera tracks, cable.
Okay,
Tracks.
yeah. Okay.
So, they would rent it 4 times a year, and they're like, all of a sudden they're getting like, well, we're doing this 4 times a year. We can basically save money on rental fees and just get our own. And that way, for the next 30 years or so, you save budget from renting it again. So if it's feasible to buy it, instead of like renting it,
Yeah.
then buy it. If you're going to save money in the long term, then buy it. But if you're only using it twice a year, and it's like, well, over the period of this time,
Yeah.
it might be cheaper just to rent it.
Well,
and just
that brings
go
up
like
another
that.
analogy. I think with software, it comes back to the analogy of the costs of ownership that people often don't think about. And if you invest all that money, say you go out and buy a $1,000 software package, and then the new software comes out a year later, you're on the hook for whatever that upgrade is. That kind of money is going to cost you. Whereas if you were renting, you would never even notice it. You would just there would be no change in your costs. There'd be no change in your expenses. You'd have the latest and greatest at all times. It'd be working perfectly. You'd be an active customer with them. You wouldn't be just some guy who bought something from them 3 years ago. You'd be someone they're responsible to on a monthly basis. It reminds me at my job, it's totally not technical, but just things like our event staff, they'll occasionally need to set up, tables and chairs for, 200, 300 people. And it's not something we do on a regular basis, so it's not something that the company owns internally. They always just rent that on the outside. But every time we do that, like someone will invariably come and like, God, look how much we're spending on tables and chairs. This is stupid. Why don't we just buy those and never have to rent them again? Well, I mean, the reason we don't is because you have to own them, then you have to store them, and that means you've got to build out a facility to do nothing but hold tables and chairs. That's wasted square footage that you're paying for, and it's air conditioned and all that stuff. And then great, you've got that, but now you've got to move these and go set them up, which means you've got to go hire a crew of people to go do that, which it just comes for free when it's being delivered. It's part of your rental.
Yeah.
So they just drop it for you. And, when these things wear out and break and need to be cleaned and things like that, somebody else's problem versus that would all be your problem. That would just be stuff you'd have to monitor your stock and you'd have to take care of it. And as it broke down, you'd have to go get new stock and stuff like that. Linens are a big thing like that too. Like we looked at that. I think they looked at the cost of renting, your average tablecloth. It was something like $20, something like that. It's like, God, really? Times 50 tables. That's a lot of money. Why don't we just go buy a tablecloth? Like, one department they were saying, screw it. This is stupid. We're going out and buying them. And they quickly found out that every time they need to dry clean one of those tablecloths, $25. So you're losing money on the ownership. It's not worth owning some of these things. And I think maybe software's as computers continue to move and circle back around to our topic here, as as technology continues to evolve, there's a cost of owning yesterday's software. Even if you own it and it's yours, it's yesterday's. You want today's or tomorrow's software if you want to be competitive and go out and earn business. So, yeah, where I used to be really kind of leery about this, I'm more and more kind of like, okay, this is intriguing to me. Maybe I need to just change the way I'm wired and think about owning the software I need as I need it instead of building up a bunch of hardware infrastructure. Maybe I just need to rent everything I need and be the integrator for my clients. Be the guy that puts it all together and makes it work for their mission. I get paid my fee for that. I put out the money that it took to get the hardware together that they needed, and that's where my profit margin comes in. Instead of this idea of, all right, I'm going to drop $25,000 on a new camera package, a new editing package, a new software package, a new suite to hold it all, and hard drive arrays and all that. Maybe I just need to rent the camera for the day, go take it to somebody else's edit facility, sit down, rent some computer time, put it out, take the bill, add my profit margin that I want to be, and that's what I charge the client.
There used to be a center in Irving called You Edit.
You Edit Video?
Yeah,
those
You
guys,
Edit Video. I remember seeing that. I don't think they're anymore, but
there's still
I wonder
places
if that was like
around
the
like
principle or something like that, that you would just basically edit your own. They had the editing software right there, and you go in there, rent some time, and edit it. You don't have to pay for the hardware. You don't have to really pay for the software. You're just basically paying for the space.
Now, I think out in like places like California and New York, that's a more popular model, and you'll get some more higher end, like little editing boutiques that have that. UEdit was kind of it was designed for someone with no real skill, like someone who just wants to edit their wedding video together. Instead of paying somebody else $100 to do it, they want to do it themselves. So, but if in the professional circles, there definitely are little rental houses that you can go and you sit down. And it's a beautiful wood finished space with latest Mac Pro that you can have with the latest all the software and the DaVinci color correctors and everything. So stuff that would cost you $100,000 if you wanted to lay it out on your own, and you just go rent it for $1,000 a day or whatever. Turn out your production in a couple 3 or 4 days. And that's your cost. Because, films and things like that, especially films, I guess, if you're a filmmaker, you literally are, when you're raising funds to produce your film, you're buying everything fresh. I mean, rarely is the time when you're going out and using somebody's existing system or appropriating it for any kind of, even your indie productions. You're going out, you're buying a camera, you're buying a lighting set, you're buying all the software and everything, and you're doing it that way. So it makes a lot of sense for them just to, rent an editor, rent facilities, and just have all that be part of your daily costs instead of your capital costs, especially when that stuff's all going to get, it's like buying a new car. You sell it for pennies on the dollar. So, I mean, I don't know. So I guess I probably did cut you off, but you said pros and cons. It's, it makes sense to you if it makes sense to you.
Yeah, I think if it's, if you're going to be saving money in the long term, then rental software is the way to go. Remember that it's software, it's not hardware. Hardware will fade over time. Laptops get, laptops and desktops that get outdated over time. Like this Mac is probably 4 years, 5 years old. It's starting to have its bugs. And when it was first year, it was nice and clean. But with the software, you're getting the updates every year, so you're getting the current updates, and that's something good. You don't have to rebuy new software. But if you're only using it probably once in the blue moon, I would say don't waste your money on the rental software. Spend it, on something else. And
That's a good point about like laptops in particular. Like that was one thing I always used to swear by was, don't buy a laptop, buy a
Desktop.
PC because
Yeah.
you can upgrade it over time. You can add a video card, you can add RAM, you can do more things to keep that current. And then it got to be where, yeah, you can upgrade it, but it's not really cost effective. I guess you're just kind of a tinkerer or a nerd. Yeah, go for it, I guess.
Which what I did. That's what I did in college. Like in college, I built my own computer. I had a
Yeah, we talked about
I had
that.
a compact shell, and then I went to Fry's or somewhere and got a motherboard, and then bought a hard drive online. You just like from 5 different places. I built this computer up with this super fast motherboard, awesome fast video card. And,
Yeah.
It
was great for about 10 minutes.
7,200 RPM hard drive. It's like, oh, this is great for gaming. I built it for a gaming computer now, but most of these PC companies and everything like that, these Macs and Apple and Microsoft and the other people that make the PC companies, they're kind of customizing your computer. Like we can build that for you. And we can make
that's
it where
true.
it works
Yeah, they
for
give you options when you're ordering these things, so you don't have to have a cookie cutter machine.
Yeah.
But I mean, the point I guess I'm trying to make is you buy these computers, you use the heck out of them for 4 years, and then there's no expectation of like, well, what am I going to do to improve this computer? You're like, well, it's time to buy a new one. You throw the old one away.
Yeah.
Or you give it to grandma or something like that. And it's just, I mean, as the hardware, as the technology is
That's what I
getting
do with my
commoditized. There you go. But I mean, I guess it makes sense as the hardware is getting commoditized, so is the software. Like nobody wants to put a lot of investment into the hardware anymore. Well, I mean, I guess you still are investing it, but you're not expecting to keep it for 10 years.
Yeah.
And that's why your costs are, laptops aren't $5,000 anymore; they're $1,000.
Yeah.
And a desktop PC, same thing. They're, where they were a couple grand, now they're a couple $100. And
Yeah.
it's almost like you buy it, you set it up as your kitchen appliance, and you throw it away when it's time to get a new one. And so, yeah, why would you want to be paying a huge exorbitant cost for a piece of software? And I think that's where companies like Microsoft always struggled with, like the operating system. They would put a ton of work into setting this thing
An
up.
operating system that wasn't compliant with the hardware.
Yeah. Well, they would try to make it as compatible as possible across all these generic platforms, but it still wasn't. And they couldn't charge enough to make it where people would steal it from them, or just or get the software itself. I mean, your operating system is pretty core to everything you do, no matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
So why shouldn't that cost $3,000? Why shouldn't that cost? That's the big deal. It does everything. If you're willing to pay $2,000 for a Photoshop package, why wouldn't you pay $10,000 for the software that makes your Photoshop package run?
Yeah.
I mean, but they knew they couldn't recover that, so they just tried to go with scale, I guess, to overcome it. But then, I mean, Apple just finally gave up the ghost. Said, what, screw it, we can't. No one's buying these anymore. The expectation is I get my cell phone, and my cell phone's updated every 10 minutes for free. Why am I going to pay for this? So. I don't know. Yeah, interesting. I just wonder where it will go next and what that means for the video editor or the freelance camera guy. Or I'd like to hear Scott's input on like lighting software.
Yeah, and I think that that he kind of introduced this topic when we were off the air last week, and he wanted to talk about it. I'd like to hear his idea about it, his thoughts.
Yeah. Because I know it's something he's kind of
passionate about and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's kind of hitting him for the first time too. Like I can't buy the software anymore. My theater is going to have to start renting the software, and then suddenly it's not just a capital expenditure. It's something that you're signing up for a monthly bill, and there's a question mark as to how long that monthly bill is going to be. So your people who are financing it are like, well, what do you mean? Just buy it, and then we can.
Done with your.
What do they call it when you
your board of directors saying
when you write it off? Devalue it, or whatever. You buy something and then you say I don't know. Anyway, a first year write off kind of thing, and then as far as taxes are concerned, it's a loss, and then it comes out of your taxable income or whatever. That's not an option with this rental software anymore. I guess it's still a cost of doing business, so there's probably some tax method for it, but it's kind of hard to justify to finance people, like, hey, I need to sign us up for this new monthly fee. Like, well, why can't we just own that, not pay somebody else? Not an option anymore. It's like, well, we're not going to do that. Well, then what are we going to do? Because you can't buy the software anymore. It's not an option.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how business adapts to that. But it's definitely the new. It's not going anywhere. If anything, this plan is gaining momentum. So we'll probably see it more. Well, that's a good chat about rental software, dude. What do you think? Want to move on to the B block and talk about some fun stuff?
Yeah, let's move on to B block.
More about you.
Well, yeah. I wish Scott was here for this A block stuff because this is his baby.
Well, I'm sure I'll interview him on Skype later and I'll edit in his thoughts for the YouTube audience. I don't know. So cruise ships. Man, what do you know about cruise ship AV? Whoa, good sound effect. Wow, where'd you get that one, dude?
That came from my mouth.
Watch out for Jordan, master of disguise. It's like the dude from Police Academy over here.
We all know that, yeah. Yeah, cruise ships.
How long have you wanted to do cruise ship AV?
I have been wanting to be on a ship since 2008.
Did you ever think you'd be on a boat?
Nope. I never thought about it. I never honestly thought that would be hired. And now, like, I'm 33 years old, and this past Friday, got an email saying we want to bring you on a ship.
Yeah.
Starting September 25th, and
very cool. So
for
for what, 6 years has it been then that you've been wanting to do this?
Yeah, so it's been like, I first started at 2008 with a passion. I applied, and they were about to hire me. They wanted to hire me on, but then I started dating a girl, and the girl suckered me in to stay.
She tricked me with her wayward values.
She tricked me with her body.
Yeah.
But
did you choose me because you knew I'd be vulnerable?
It's like. She's like, I don't want you to leave. I want you to stay here with me. We're gonna be there. Like, that all
Don't do
stuff.
the voice. I can't unsee that.
so I basically.
I'll mark that for later.
Yeah, I basically stayed, on shore, and since 2008, I did various, traveled, did some, freelance gigs, and then landed a full-time job at a house of worship, and from there it just kind of
I
stayed there, but
ever
ever since that, I keep on thinking about every year. Every year I was like, man, it's like, what would I have done if I took that job in 2008 and was on the ship? Would I still be on the ship right now working?
Would it have sunk?
I'll be there to videotape
a 3-hour tour.
It's just thinking of different things. It's always the what if that happens. In like the question that happens in your life. What if this? What if this? What if I did, stay here? What if I do this? What if, and finally I get to answer my what if by doing this contract. Something that I've always thought about. It's like, well, what if I did this job? Like, will I like it? Will I hate it? I don't know. And so this is something
I'm willing to bet you'll hate at least some portion of it.
Well,
I think that every job has got something you're like,
every job you hate.
It's just work. Yeah, unless you're just literally laying out on a cruise ship all day. I think even that would get boring after 4 months. You'd be like, oh, God, if I drink another hurricane, I swear, bitch, first world problems.
I mean, that's with every job,
Yeah, I think that's just
every job has its pros and cons. It's just depending on.
Now, if it's not, I want you to call me because I'm going to throw it all away and be a cruise ship AV guy. That sounds awesome.
I already have people just basically saying it's like, well, let me know how the job is. And
it's almost like wait, are you serious? This is actually a thing.
Apparently it is, and honestly, like with some of the the videos and stuff that I've seen of it, it looks like they have some great technology that
it's
you
legit.
You would be surprised that they have on shore or that they have on a boat. Here we go.
I think there's a clip. Let's go to the clip.
Yeah, so the different departments, they have audio, video, and lighting and rigging and stuff like that. Backstage crew.
Yeah, it's a full-on stage production.
It's
on the water.
Almost like Broadway shows and stuff like that. It's completely different. It's whoops. Back to you. So it's completely
copyright 2012 Carnival Cruises.
Exactly. I don't want to play too much of it.
Yeah. Oh, we were gonna hire you, but you pirated all of our shit, so you're fired.
So it's something it's something interesting. It's something that at least I said that I did it. And if
for sure, yeah. And you're at a good point in your life where I'm
still single, even though I'm old. I'm an old man. I'm probably like the old man on the ship.
Yeah.
I'm 33.
But tell me, again, let's go back. When did you start thinking about this in 2008? Were you just on a pleasure cruise, or were you working on some other gig?
I'd never been on a cruise before in 2008.
Okay.
It's the weirdest thing. It's just like I left my first full-time job out of college. It was a house of worship. I left there, and I was like, I don't know where to go. It's like I don't know where to start. It's like I'm sort of still out of college, and where should I go? It's like should I? And I started researching information. I forgot what got me to this. It's like I haven't even cruised yet. I haven't been on a cruise ship or anything like that. And so I was like, you know what? I think cruises to have AV or camera guys, and it's like that's a great way for me to like learn some stuff and everything, you know. And so I kind of went to their website.
So you just invented that out of nowhere, huh? Then you're
out of nowhere.
That's about as close to a calling as I think you can get. But that's that's very creative. I mean, it's a good point. I mean,
yeah, and it's you know, and then you know,
Santa Claus must have an AV company. How does he
everybody
do
has
all
AV
of his
company.
elf training videos? Maybe I'm gonna work for
everybody
Santa
has
Claus.
an AV company, you know.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, it's a cool thing about this gig. If you know, you really can take it into a lot of areas. I mean, whatever your passion or interest is, there's probably a way you can shoehorn modern media production into it. I mean, even live production. You know, just for you stage producers and actors and things like that out there, surely there's a lot of different communications roles you can do. Yeah, I got to give it to you. That's brilliant. Just going, you know, I would like to live on a cruise ship for several months out of my life, and I can hold a camera. How can I put these two together? These guys are going to pay me to do that. That's awesome.
You know, they also they'll teach you and stuff like that how to.
Yeah, we were kind of before the show. We were watching a little bit of the welcome aboard videos, and that's what it seemed like. It is open to on the job training, which I think is important. I mean, they're still interested in developing people. It's always a little bit leery if you're getting into a position where you're expected to know it all, and that kind of intimates that you're not expected to go anywhere because you're never going to be moving up. You're just going to know it all and stay here until you die. It's like, well, you got to be paying me pretty well then, because if I'm not moving up, I'm moving out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's encouraging that they are open about that. How there's opportunities for kind of enhancing your skill set. And I'm sure with you, I mean, you'll probably find a lot of opportunity to kind of cross train on things.
Yeah, and
I don't know how tightly regimented the AV crew is on the ships, but
I don't know either. I mean, I've read some the documents and stuff like that. How they're in charge of maintaining and repairing all the LED screens that are on the ship. Any kind of for instance, those big LED screens that are in the
over the pool deck,
and stuff like that. So that they're in charge of repairing that, checking on the TV screens that are in all the bars and the restaurants and the lounges. Make sure that the guest TVs. So also there's a person that's on call from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. who's basically in charge of he has a sat phone and stuff like that, so that he can be reached. And
so literally you could be the cable guy.
Yeah.
Is there a problem with your?
He's on call.
Is there a problem with your electronics package?
So it's just he's on call for the whole day, and any type of guest TV, crew TV, or something like that issue, he goes and fixes it, and that's his duty for the day.
Yeah, I mean it's a floating
But
hotel.
you're on call, so you don't have to be like sitting here in the office the whole time. You can as long as you have the phone with you, you can go work out or something like that maybe, or go just walk around, take a nap.
Yeah, that's true. I mean your commute, you can't beat your commute. Like, well, time to walk 2 feet.
Yeah, well, yeah. And I've heard, the different, the good thing about this, the positives about this is that they're paying you to eat, all the food on the ship for the staff.
They're paying you to eat all
free. It's free.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not paying any type of
a lot of
food.
hotels will do that. I mean, a lot of the hospitality models, like when
Yeah.
you're on site, everything is taken care of, and they usually don't give you free lodging at hotels, so that's kind of cool.
And that's another thing. It's like your place that you're living in is free. Of course, it's a small. It's basically a bunk bed system, but pretty small for two people. But here's the thing: you're only sleeping in there. That's it. You're not going to be living in there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Because usually, anytime that you're not working, it's either you might want to be taking a nap, but you want to be doing something on the outside.
Yeah.
You want to be like.
Well, I would imagine, you'll want to be out and about. It seems like it would be a good gig for college kids because they're used to the whole dorm life thing where you're in close quarters and shared quarters, right? So, I mean, you'll be it's fun. It's finding your own space. I don't know if you're gonna have to like Titanic it up and go down below decks and hang out with the drunken Irish people. I don't know how that works, but I mean, yeah, you're gonna. I think shore leave is going to be very important to you in situations like that. But I mean, I almost don't really see that as. I don't know if I have this big need for solidarity, solemnity in my life. I don't really need to be alone so much. I mean, every once in a while, it's probably good to be able to, go get some me time. You'll probably want to go up to the forecastle and lean over the deck.
Yeah, exactly. Go to the bow.
I'm the king of the world.
Go to the bow of the boat and just like chill out there.
Hewitt, get off the rails.
30 minutes.
Sorry, guys. We're just doing a scene, doing a bit.
But it's a great way to travel the world, and get paid to travel the world, go see some stuff, and
oh yeah,
I plan on taking my GoPro camera and just
film the hell out of it.
Film it.
So yes, that's a good segue to get into. We want to talk about what that means for the future of the Showtech show.
Yes.
So I definitely want you to continue to be as highly actively involved in this stuff as you can. I don't know if we'll continue doing the live Sunday night broadcast, if that works out, or a regular live broadcast. But at some point, I want to, on a regular basis, like Skype with you, like if you're in port or if you're at sea, bandwidth is sufficient enough. We should just make it a plan to just jump on, hey, what have you been doing this week? What's been going on? I'll just run a quick interview segment with you, basically.
Hopefully I'm not too drunk.
No, yes, because this show is all about not being...
I don't have a beer right now. That's the thing.
What?
I need
Would you like a beer?
Yes, I do. Because
sorry?
I had my...
Let me just get into the Coleman
Cooler. I had my Blizzard, and then I
can't reach you. I'm wired into the set.
Okay, there you go.
Bad planning.
And I never got to my my beer.
Workaholic.
My
See, Carnival, that's the kind of quality
So-
technician you're getting in a Jordan Hewitt. He has gone through almost an entire shift without a drink. And
It can happen.
I wonder. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're a pretty professional culture there, but that would be. I want to find that job where everybody's just like drinking and hanging out on the board, and I guess.
Well, I've heard that you really can't. They'll allow you to drink. But you can't be drunk to work and stuff like that.
Sure. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I
there-
mean, it's a
there's
real job.
responsibilities
It's
and
not.
stuff
It's
like
not a
that.
total joke thing. I mean,
Yes,
it's
like
pretty awesome
it's
environment,
here
but it is
it's like
a
here
job.
on land. You wouldn't show up to work drunk.
not if you want to continue being employed there.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, I for a couple summers ago, I had a bit where I was covering one of our hospitality properties out in Georgia. It was like a coastal resort for rich people, and so I got to go out and be their AV director for a while, and that was pretty awesome. That was like the hard part of my day was setting up the sound system at the pool. Like, it's rough. I guess I'll go back to my beachside bungalow and So yeah, there's definitely something to be said about being creative. If you live in rural Chicago or outlying Chicago area and you're just underwhelmed by the employment opportunities there, think outside the box. That's a pretty cool way to find, and it may not be something you do forever, but it might be like the secret dream that nobody told you about. Because I don't know. I mean, obviously they don't have to advertise the job so well because the word of mouth will. They'll find people who want to do that just because it's awesome enough, I imagine that's how Girls Gone Wild would hire their film crews back in the day. There wasn't like a. There wasn't like a. I never saw that on Monster.com.
No, it was.
Oh, it says right here. I can
word of mouth, and I know certain camera guy that.
Yeah.
It was basically word of mouth.
There you go. Yeah, we can also connect you to that because here at Showtech Show, we're totally above board.
And that producer worked with Girls Gone Wild and got that camera guy there. And it was
there you go. Didn't have to go to dice.com. And,
I think one time I did look at what his motion company or whatever. I forgot what his Girls Gone Wild. What's his name?
I have no idea.
That's
probably a pretty dated reference in and of itself. I think the guy's out of business.
Yeah, he's out of business. But I went to like his website to see if he's hiring for camera guys, and it didn't have any on it. So I was like, damn it.
Like hiring for camera guys? What are you talking about? This isn't like cinematography here. We just go to the club and be like, hey, are you drunk enough to hold this camera? Okay. Here's $12.
You'll get to see some boobs.
Yeah, you got to admit, it's a brilliant production model. But anyway, so yeah, we definitely want to keep you on board with doing a Showtech show, or at least talk on the network, whatever this becomes over the years, and touch base. So when you're going out there getting footage and everything, throw that into a Dropbox, and we can stitch together little pieces.
And, like I'll have a laptop. I'll try to buy myself a laptop or something.
Yeah.
You know, after my first few months or first contract, I might buy something to put me something together.
Yeah.
Because I'll be making.
Well, you could just
some
subscribe
cash.
to it. You don't have to buy it. You could just
Yeah, I can
rent it.
rent a laptop, and then that way I can have the editing software on there and edit some packages and send it to y'all like Google Drive or Dropbox or something like that.
Yeah, I still haven't found a very good free video editing package.
Oh, I have fun with it.
Well, that's true. I mean, you got that on there, but
I paid the rental fee.
yeah, you got the subscription one. I did find for Photoshop, there's some free alternatives out there that are all web-based. Actually, they're not even
Pixel?
software.
Something like that.
Pixlr, yeah,
Pixlr? Yeah.
it's pretty awesome.
So,
An Autodesk product for free on the internet. Can't beat that. So yeah, we'll like I said, we'll tell you when with Skype or FaceTime. We'll figure something out like that.
Yeah,
and
we'll
just
figure
record that
something
way.
out.
I can, and then I can roll you in the show virtually. And so you ship out actually before our intended LDI coverage out in Vegas.
I was sad about that.
Again, rough life. Trading in trip to Vegas for cruise ship, but work.
money,
You know,
yeah.
got to earn that dollar, right? So we'll figure out what we're going to do with that. I've got some issues with my day job trying to work out PTO to get away and do that, but still somewhat planning to cover that. I don't know. The company hasn't been as responsive as I had hoped they'd be with, I don't want to go out there and guerrilla up their show. I think at this point we're kind of getting better response straight from the manufacturers as far as interviews and things like that. So there's not really a whole lot of utility in something like LDI. It's just an opportunity for vendors to go get drunk in the desert. So we can still get you guys the news for sure. It just might not involve a trip to Vegas for me. Although I wouldn't mind a trip. I could use a vacation. So we'll see how that rolls. So I guess, things are a little bit in flux, but I think it's going to be a cool change of pace for sure.
Oh, definitely.
I think it'll add some
what
new
I've been doing for the
interest.
past year or so, couple years. It's gonna be definitely a change of atmosphere.
Yeah, it'll be a
change
new
of
lease
pace.
on life for you for sure. I mean, even if
Be like a fresh breath, maybe.
yeah, it'll probably give you some fresh perspective on things. It'll just get you more in it to win it. So that's never a bad deal. And I think we can manipulate that for good content for the viewers. So, producer Rich strikes again. What else do you want to say? That's all I got, dude.
Yeah, I mean that's about I got. So yeah.
Good show. Good show.
Yep.
Yep.
So there we go.
Did you say meow?
I said yep.
Okay. Well, then I think it's time to encourage all of our folks to stay tuned. I guess we'll have another one of these coming up next week with something. We'll see if we can catch a Scott in the wild.
Well, he's here. He's just invisible and.
Oh, that's right. I forgot he's here. And
He's sick and he's not talking.
He's invisible and not mic'd. But next week, we'll totally get him more actively involved because I know he's what makes the show. Until then, please find our past episodes. We've got a YouTube channel set up for the Lone Star Webcast Network. It's youtube.com/TV Lone Star. You can check out the Showtech Show playlist there. We've got a Twitter account you can follow us on. We're at Showtech Show. You can also, if you want to reach out to us the old-fashioned way, you can contact our email address at showtechshow@frontiertelevision.com. And that's where you can join us each week, Sunday nights at 8 o'clock Central Time as we do this thing live right here on the Lone Star. We're at frontiertelevision.com where you can watch and chat with us. Watch and chat. Sometimes the New Englander accent comes out of me, man. Anyway, that was a good show, and we appreciate you being a part of it. We will talk to you next week. Bye, all.